You were
I was
flying to.
doing I was no I was doing things on time. I did things in advance. I didn't
Oh,
do because uh, COVID really gave me some pretty bad habits when it came to traveling because I was like, oh yeah, cheap flights, the cheapest flights. Oh man, nobody else in the plane. I could just lay down and enjoy myself.
no.
Like call the stewardess and she's I'm the only person on the stewardess. Go to Vegas and nobody's in the hotels. Hotels are like the cheapest they were giving 5 days free. That was the life I was living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go to Florida, fly to
Oh my
Virginia, fly to New
gosh.
York.
Flying when everyone's asking you not to fly.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the advisory, right? The help of was that the WHO or whoever. Um, but the only thing that was really expensive was renting cars
Because there were no cars.
because there were no cars. Yeah, so it's like you'd pay like under $50 for a night stay at say somewhere like Excalibur, and then
Hmm.
or free,
Yeah.
and then your flight would be like $79 or $70. Not too bad. And then your car rental would be like $2,000, $3,000 a day.
Crazy.
But not only that, there was also, I think, a shortage of Uber and Lyft drivers, from what I heard.
Yeah, because there wasn't a demand for it.
There's
No
no
one
demand.
wanted to. No one needed an Uber or a Lyft.
Yeah, I talked to an Uber driver. He was like, it was like one every like hour, 2 hours, and it was like everybody. It was so competitive, and it was very difficult. And they try to get people onto the road. But I mean, if
Yeah.
you don't have people, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I remember because then once the vaccines rolled out, and people started traveling again, there was an influx of demand and not enough Uber drivers for a
Yeah,
period of
I do
time.
remember that.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta catch my flight in like half an hour. Oh, no, I would never do it that bad because now I know for a fact, 45-minute check in. They will not block you from checking in out before 45 before 45 minutes. After 45, they will not let you check in. But so I was gonna miss my flight going to LA because I checked in like 44 minutes and they said you can try to go through TSA, and
Hmm.
if you go to the ticketing station, they will potentially give you a ticket if they haven't given up your seat. So that's what happened when I flew from Hawaii to LA. I almost missed my flight, but I did miss check-in. I went in, and then the lady was like, "Oh, I think we gave away your seat." I'm like, I walked all the way from the tarmac all the way here. Like that's a long walk. I told her it's a long walk. And she was like, well, you came late and we gave away your ticket. And I was like, and then she was like, let me see what I can do. And then she left because I was already there at 45 minutes, right? So I know that they close the bridge to the plane 50 minutes prior. So you have to be there at least 50 minutes prior for you to make your flight.
Yeah, doesn't it say on the ticket like you have to be checked in at least 50 minutes prior?
Well, if you have your ticket, then that means you're already checked in.
Well, no, I mean like you have to check in, like you have to be ready, right? Be
You have
checked
to
into
board. You have to
for be
board.
board.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, before 50 minutes before they close the doors.
it does say that, and
Yeah, on the ticket, right?
that's what I try to do.
you
That's what I
really,
try.
you're really threading that needle.
Um, there's only been two instances where
I
they
think
opened.
that's what people are more amazed about is when you tell people like how you travel.
It probably gives people anxiety.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I get anxiety whenever if I have to like rely on you for a ticket for something.
I'm like,
Uh
well, it's the best prices. Like last minute prices are the best prices.
no, not all the time. Sometimes like it's cheaper like a few days before, but then you wait. It's like, oh, it might be cheaper in a few days or in a couple hours, and then
I
it's
know.
like the date of, and like all the prices are okay,
Okay.
but then you no choice but to book it.
Well, you also get bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, and I get the bottom of the barrel, and I have to sit literally in the back of the plane, like the back, like the last row.
I like the back of the plane.
I
You know,
hate the back of the plane because it's always filled with families, right, with kids.
oh, I love kids. No, that's sarcastic. I hate kids. I cannot stand it. That's my pet peeve. Kids on a plane. Why would you have kids on a plane? Why?
Well, okay, I mean, I understand. I'm not complaining about the fact that parents have to bring kids on a plane. It's just
Oh,
the
I
fact.
am. I'm complaining about
Okay,
that.
well, yeah, you complain, but I'm just saying, like, that's usually where families book is, like the back of the plane because they have a lot of space.
Yeah.
So usually, whenever I'm forced to be in the back of the plane, it's always like the very
No,
back.
I have had very successful moments of booking late, and I think that just reinforces like bad behavior.
Yeah.
So, when I was flying to Philadelphia, right, or Philly, to see the debate between Trump and Kamala, I actually booked it so late that I was supposed to arrive there, rent a tux and then head on over. The cool thing was that when we had left from LA, I believe it was LA to Philadelphia, um, the back of the plane was completely empty. And me and the lady's like, I'm so glad I waited last minute. I'm like, me too. And all the people before us, they said how much they like. Not all the people. Okay, a few people. We had asked them how much they paid, and they paid like almost $200 to $300 more than we had paid. And we had open rows. Like she was like, she slept, I slept. The two people they kept talking story, but it was still kind of fun. Like our whole group was like, "Oh yeah, we're so fun, we're so excited," and then all these people like three in a row, all like bunched up together, like having to spend $300 extra for their seats while we all enjoyed our time at the back of the room.
Yeah, I'm not a budget traveler. That's for sure.
You're not a budget traveler,
Yeah.
or like getting somewhere as inexpensive as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess it's different when you're like a person of comfort. If you don't like stressing out and you like being comfortable, then I guess it's a little bit different. Like peace of mind, I guess.
Yeah. So I know I get to where I need to go on at a specific time.
Who needs a specific time?
I do.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was kind of that adventure. Another story that occurred while we were there. So as we were driving to um that Nashville hot place chicken place, I forgot what it's called already. We were going to Holly Rays. We saw a billboard on the side, and it was
Okay.
for City of Hope. Have you heard of City of Hope?
City of Hope?
Yeah.
No, what is that?
Apparently, they're one of the top five cancer research centers in the
Okay.
LA area. And
Okay.
then when we passed it, I was telling Nicole and Andrew. Andrew was driving actually. Andrew, I don't know if you know Andrew, but we were sitting there, and I was looking at the billboard. And I was like, oh, that's the school that I want to go to for oncology. And they're like, when are you going to do that? And I was like, after my law degree, after I finish my law school, I'm going to go to, I want to go for oncology. And
Wait, you're telling people you're going to do oncology after law school?
yeah, I'm going to be an oncological doctor. Why are you surprised?
This is random. Okay.
It's not random. I mean, I've been in medical for 20 years.
Yeah.
And
What?
I've been doing surgeries for 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's
And
like, why is that such an offshoot
what?
from doing something that's
Oh,
other than
I mean, I see the connection. I'm just. This is random that you want to do that now.
Well, I mean, I obviously should have done it in my early teens, but I mean, my early 20s. Sorry, early 20s. In my early teens.
I mean, you had said yeah, like you have 20 years of medical with the military, but then
So
why?
let me tell you my philosophy about learning and studying. Only because I've been studying it now for like 12 years, right?
Okay.
Um, the interesting thing is that when you're young, you can learn things really quickly. You also have a very strong and powerful memory. You
Sure.
also are able to connect things, problem solve, do all these things a lot quicker. But the hard thing is that your brain is so immature that it's like you can't discipline yourself. You don't see the value of education. You know what I mean? Like you want these instant gratifications that distract you away from, kind of learning to be kind of the best person you can be. And now I feel like at 40, I have a lot more like motivation to study, and I have like different tools, and I take it a lot more seriously than I would have when I was a young kid, even though I do have my master's. I mean, I know the value of school, but I feel like now I can really hone in and be a doctor, and and try to cure cancer or whatever, or do cancer research. But that's not the full story. That's only part of the story. So that happened around lunch, right? As we were driving, we saw the billboard, and I can post about it. It was pretty interesting. Um, the billboard was like, "Hey, join one of the top five, cancer research centers in the nation." I think it said something like that. So I had taken a picture of it, and I said, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do." And they're like, "Oh, you're crazy!" Like everyone's reaction, "You're crazy. You want to be an oncology doctor? That's crazy." But my nurse, my auntie is actually an oncology nurse, and she administers chemo and she does treatment plans. And I'm like, how far is that? For me, not far at all.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens
Don't you have
is,
to? Do you have to do like residency though?
you have to do it all. So, but no, no. Okay.
Okay.
Well, when I did the research, it's going to be 8 years. So if I do it at 42, I'll be 50 years old, and then I can do my like cancer research. I can work at a doctor. I can work at a field, and hopefully Clever Wolf will be the way that it is. But I mean, honestly, I think that me as an entrepreneur and me being the boss of everything, I think I more so get in the way. Everyone can do the job better than me anyway. But so okay, so this is what happens, which is I don't know if it's my luck or if it's witchcraft or if it's Agatha all along. But what happened was, we leave the what is that called? I keep calling it Pahana event, but what should we call it? I leave I leave the happy hour event, right? Like around
Okay.
8 o'clock. Oh no, no. We went to Trader Joe's and all that jazz. But I wait for the Uber driver to pick me up from Trader Joe's in Monrovia, right? And then so this Uber guy picks me up, and I say bye to Nicole. I'm just sitting there, and I'm like not in the mood to kind of like socialize because I'm like, I don't want to really socialize. But we kind of get closer to the hotel, so in my mind I'm like, okay, let's go to this casino so I can gamble. But they didn't have machines. But when I was talking to the guy, I was like, "Oh, is this place new?" And he's like, "Yeah, this place is kind of new." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I said, "Oh, what do you do?" And he's like, "I've been Uber driving for 5 years." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "That's unusual." I was like, "You haven't had any other job?" He's like, "Yeah, I used to drive in New Jersey." He's originally from New Jersey. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I used to drive in New Jersey." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Why did you even come to LA?" Because he was telling me that in New Jersey he used to be able to have a savings and save money, but in LA, like he just like he spends all his money and never is able to get some savings. Anyway, he says, "Oh yeah, the reason why we came to LA was because my wife took a job." And guess where the wife works? Just guess. I gave you the answer. The answer
A
is right.
gynecologist place.
The gynecologist place. That's so funny. Anyway, that's actually pretty funny. So she works at City of Hope. She's a cardiothoracic scientist at City of
Okay.
Hope. So he says, "Oh," and I asked him 3 times, like, "Wait, tell me where she works." And then he's like, "She works at City of Hope. She's a researcher at City of Hope, and she's a cardiothoracic scientist." And I was like, "No freaking way!" So we exchanged information, and then I emailed him my intent to apply after law school, and then I told her that next time I'm in LA, I'm gonna have Indian food with them. Isn't that
Okay.
wild? Isn't that crazy?
What are you doing in law school?
I'm already in law school. I'm in the JD Flex program.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
It's the part time remote law school program in UH.
Oh, I didn't even know we had a program like that.
They do. It's really awesome, and I don't know how I got the marketing for that, but they're like, "Hey, do you have a bachelor's?" I have a bachelor's, and I applied to it, and then it took a year because I missed the first cohort. Because it was I think it was relatively new. Because they said, "Oh, are you a full time worker, or do you have? Are you looking for like a part time degree in law?" And I was like, "Oh, I can do that." Well, it's not a part time degree in law. I shouldn't diminish it like that. It's a full degree, but it's for people who want to do school part-time.
It's good. I mean, it's great that you still have motivation to
Go to school.
keep going to school.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's like Keenan too. Keenan's like he got it. I was surprised he got
But
his
well,
master's.
Keenan is like slightly different because he was motivated to become better at his current job.
That's true. Actually, I
Like
find that very impressive.
you're different. You're spread out amongst like variety of different subjects. You're just going to school because I don't know, you got bored or something.
Why are you going to school? To answer that question, it's the magnesium.
Like I don't think I could ever go back to school. I am so burnt out. Even now, I feel like I'm still
You're burnt
burnt
out
out.
from school without going to school.
What do you mean without going to school? I've been to school.
Oh, you're burnt out from college,
From college and high school and all that.
which
Yeah.
was like 10 years ago, 10 years ago. How
Something
long
like
did you
that.
graduate? Yeah.
Graduated in 2015, so 9 years.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I could never go to grad school because I have no motivation to go back to school for it.
Well, I mean, there's
For
also no benefit. Like, I felt the same way that there was no benefit for me because I own my own company. It's like me getting my master's is like,
oh, that's true too. Like if I were to get my master's in business, I really don't think I would see a benefit unless I go back to corporate, which
yeah.
I don't ever want to go back to.